Hi, I'm Derek Catron in the PhocusWire studio at the Phocuswright Conference, and I'm joined by Bob Kaufman, the founder and CEO of ConnexPay, which just yesterday was named as the conference's Travel Innovation Award winner. Welcome, Bob, and congratulations.
Thanks, Derek. Thrilled to be here. Believe it or not, 5 years ago to the day, we were on that same stage when we were a younger company, and we won as the most innovative startup in 2018. So this was my second time on stage with a more mature company now, and we're 2 for 2. So I think that says something about what we're building for the travel industry.
Now you've got a match. So.
I do. It'll look well in the office.
I bet it will. I bet it will. So first, for those who haven't seen you on stage, could you give us a brief overview of ConnexPay?
Yeah. So we are, to this day, the first and only company that's truly combined the ability to take money in from customers and make payments out to suppliers and vendors all in one comprehensive platform. So that's it in a nutshell. But by doing that, we really are able to save our clients a lot of money, make things more efficient for them, and most importantly, improve their relationship with their customers.
Okay. That sounds easy, but I suspect it's a lot more complicated. And I wondered if you could kind of go into more detail on the differences between a merchant of record versus an agency model for travel agents.
Yeah, that was really the focus of my pitch yesterday. And this industry is sort of weird. It grew up with this concept of so often a consumer buying something, a hotel stay or a flight through a travel agency. And more consumers are using travel agents these days because it makes it easy for them to price compare and make travel decisions. But so often, in fact, more than half of the time when it comes to the payment, the card from the consumer is just passed on to the airline or the hotel, right? And the reason that's a problem is that OTA spends a lot of money getting consumers to buy from them. And then arguably when it comes to the most important part of that relationship, the payment, they effectively say goodbye to the customer that they worked so hard to get because they can't help them. They can't service them in the future if it related to changes or refunds. I use the analogy when I buy from Amazon, when I buy a pair of Nike shoes, Amazon doesn't take my card and pass it to Nike. Like, I can't think of another industry where this happens, but it happens to the tune of billions and trillions of dollars in travel. And our solution helps fix that and gives the OTAs back the ownership of their customer.
Okay. Well, so what is it about travel companies that make it so challenging?
Yeah. So historically, banks don't like travel. And so it becomes difficult for banks to actually set up accounts. I was a former banker for 20 years. So I lived it and I felt that pain and it bothered me so much that's why I left to start ConnexPay.
Okay. So I heard you compare travel companies to online pornography.
They don't make as much money though.
Okay. All right. Well, care to elaborate?
Yeah. So again, as a former banker, there are these industries that banks view as high risk. Now, the reason for travel is a little different than the other one. But in the case of travel, it's what banks call future delivery at risk. And so what that means is you or I as a consumer buy something today and pay for it that's not delivered for days, weeks, months, sometimes years into the future. Very different than going and paying for your meal at a restaurant or buying a shirt at a store where you get your product or good immediately. Here, there's this future delivery component. And so if something were to go sideways between the time of booking and when the travel actually occurs, it's going to be the bank that's on the hook for refunds, chargebacks. So that risk results in them putting travel companies in that category. That typically means high reserves. It means limits on how much you can process, and certainly above average fees to accept credit cards. At ConnexPay, we fundamentally remove that risk, and that's how we're able to help our clients.
All right. That makes sense. What are some of the benefits to the virtual cards for travel companies?
Yeah. So, after removing some of that risk and taking money from the consumers and resulting in a lower cost to our clients to accept payment, we then help them with making payments to suppliers with virtual cards. And the benefits there are there's a multitude, but I'll highlight a couple. Number one, they're very specific use created. So dollar amount, where it can be processed. So let's just say you need to pay ABC airline for a flight. We'll create a card specifically for that dollar amount, that time frame, only can be processed at that airline. So it avoids fraud. If a fraudster gets their hands on it, it won't do them any good, right? Versus if your consumer card is used and put in all these systems, it's at risk of being stolen and fraudulently used. So avoids fraud. And then it's a revenue stream. It's kind of like you and I get cash back on our personal credit cards. Same thing for our clients. We're able to give them cash back, a rebate on that payment, which helps them, generate some revenue.
And points for travel.
Exactly. That's right. That's
okay.
right.
So, but it doesn't seem like many of these issues are new. Why is it that these pain points, haven't been solved before?
Yeah. So in my 20-year career, I experienced these, and I'll tell this story. I'll keep it short. But I was running the virtual card business at my former job, and I was talking to a potential client, and I said, look, not only should you choose us as your virtual card provider, but we also have this division where we can help you accept payments. So at the same company, we can handle all of your payments in and all of your payments out. And he looked at me and said, well, that's great, but let me explain to you how this is going to go down. He said, you're going to bring me a separate sales team to sell your acquiring services, a separate contract to sign, a separate technology to integrate into, and a separate phone number to call when I need support. So that was the day it hit me between the eyes. That's really how payments is set up. To your point, for decades, there's lots of companies that will help people accept payments and lots of companies that will help people make payments, but it's never all in one. And when it's not an all-in-one, it makes it a reconciliation nightmare for OTAs and tour operators because they have all this money coming in, all this money going out, but you're using multiple different providers. There's cash flow problems. You don't get your money right away. So imagine buying a flight on a Friday afternoon. With any other payment provider on the face of the earth, you don't actually get that money in your checking account until best case Monday. If Monday's a holiday, now it's Tuesday. Then they might hold the funds for a day or two because of that risk component we talked about earlier. Now it's Wednesday or Thursday, but you need to pay the airline on Friday, right? ConnexPay is the only company in the world that gives you real-time access to your customer money. So on Friday, when you process the consumer's card, we give you that money immediately in real time.
Hey, that's why ConnexPay is the 2-time award winner.
That's right. That's right.
All
So
right.
we're proud of that, and we thank everybody at the Phocuswright group that's supporting us.
Bob Kaufman, thank you for coming to speak with us in the PhocusWire studio. It's been a pleasure talking with you. And again, congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.